It's 9 minutes to midnight, Memorial Day, 2007. 4 years into the Iraq War. Last night on 60 Minutes, they devoted the entire hour to a report that they'd been working on for about 2 years, following a battalion of the Iowa National Guard as they were deployed to Iraq, and also following their families at home. And I had an old guy moment, I guess. Where I just found myself crying. And it strikes me that at some point fairly soon I should, break down and talk a little bit about politics. But not today, not on Memorial Day. So today, I went to the Veterans Cemetery in Westwood to visit the graves of my grandfather and my father, neither of whom died in a war. My grandfather was born in Norway. His name was either Ludwig Bershew or Ludwig Satterstue. I've never been able to figure out. I never got the straight story, but when he came to Ellis Island it was changed. And he fought in World War I. And I used to have his Purple Heart medal, but I can't find it now. Now all I can find is his dog tags from World War I. And his American Expeditionary Force ring. It's almost illegible now. It says AEF. I am reported to have loved him when I was a little kid. But I don't actually remember him because he died when I was 3 years old. My dad graduated from high school in 1934 at the height of the Great Depression, and although he was an excellent math and science student, he couldn't afford to go to college, so he joined the Navy and was a radio operator on the battleship California, which mostly stayed in port because this was the Depression and it was before the military-industrial complex, and the armed forces of the United States were not a big-ticket item at that time, certainly not compared to what they became. And he got out in 1938 and went straight into college and got I believe, a bachelor's in physics and a master's in math. And when World War II started, parenthetically, the battleship California was sunk at Pearl Harbor. So his timing was lucky. He did not fight in World War II. He was a physicist for the Navy, degaussing ships, trying to make them safe from magnetic mines. So, no one in my family has not been directly harmed by war for 90 years, since whatever happened to my grandfather in World War I, and it had to have been minor, though I'm sure the experience wasn't minor. Yeah, this is really not going to be a... Oh shit, fuck. Well, I wanted to read a poem. The most famous poem of World War I. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who it's appropriate to, or it just seems to cut through the politics. Bent double, like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on, bloodshot. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of tired, outstripped 5-9s that dropped behind. Gas! Gas! Quick, boys! An ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time, but someone still was yelling out and stumbling, and floundering like a man in fire or lime. Dim, through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eyes writhing in his face, his hanging face, like a devil sick of sin. If you could hear, at every jolt, the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cud of vile incurable sores on innocent tongues. My friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory the old lie, Dulce et decorum est, pro patria more.